College Football 26 just officially dropped yesterday, but it already has some known gameplay issues, with some so bad to the point where some people can't play the game, forcing EA to announce an update with several major issues that they are trying to patch. Plus, we also got some major news about Madden 26 and the future of EA Sports licensing agreement with the NFL. I'm going to get into all that, but if you guys enjoy this video and want to help get it out to more people, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe for more future update videos like this. Now, I want to start off with the Madden news because it's kind of quick, but it has a lot to do with the issues that people are having in College Football 26 as well. But before I do, I also want to mention that people that have been waiting and asking, my College Football 26 ebooks are all out right now. I have links in the description as well as the top pinned comment if you guys want to check that out. I know a lot of people are struggling on defense, so I want to bring that up. I just dropped my 425 defensive ebook, as well as my Alabama offensive ebook the other day, and I have a bunch of tips and strategy guides that you get with those ebooks, but you can also purchase separately. So I just want to have that information out there for people that are wondering. So like I said, links in the description as well as the top pinned comment if you guys are interested in that. But ultimately, Mike Straw, who's a gaming insider who actually works at Gaming Insider, very reputable source, said that his sources are telling him that before the end of the year, and he reported this yesterday,
this one is going to upset a certain fan base of American football. EA and the NFL have an agreement in place on a new licensing deal that will keep the rights for the NFL with EA for years to come. As far as the terms of the deal, I was told multiple years, and that it was for, quote, more money in the history of the league's gaming license.
Meaning that they're the only company that's going to make football games probably for the rest of our lives. Forever. Now, that has to do with EA College Football Sports as well, because it turns out, and once again, stated from a source from him, from Mike Straw, because he looked into this.
So I reached out to Insider Gaming's Mike Straw, and he put in a FOIA request to find out. He got an update that yes, EA does indeed hold the exclusive action simulation rights for college football video games via the CLC.
That EA also has exclusive licensing rights when it comes to college football, which means that if you like to play any football game, you are going to have to get it through EA probably for the rest of your life. It just is what it is. We're never going to get 2K in the market space once again. There is no opportunity for that. So ultimately, if you're having any of the issues that I'm about to describe when it comes to college football, if you want to play a football game, you're just going to have to deal with it, because we're never going to get anything else unless it's like Maximum Football. I think there are some like other games out there, but it's clear and obvious that EA owns this market, and just like anything else, when they don't have competition, there's not really going to be any real incentive to improve the product. So we're basically in a space now where whether you like to play college football, which is looking more and more like a Madden reskin, as every year the game comes out and they look closer and closer together, just with different uniforms and different mascots and different stadiums. They're basically the same game at this point, just, you know, one side of the coin and one side of the other. So I'm going to get into something that was put out today on social media that I originally saw on Clint Odenberg's account, who is the production director of Madden. I think that his official title is, I mean, he's basically like the head of Madden. And he retweeted something that was put out from College Football Direct, who has about 73,000 basically followers, and Clint Odenberg, I think, has around 22,000 followers. They put out something that says, "What a launch day," and then they talk about gameplay updates and info, and then they basically have this blog, which doesn't actually say there was any updates. It talks about some updates that they're trying to force through. Now, typically when they do this, it does mean that there will be an update like within a couple of days. Normally, like within a week, I'd say we should expect an update on these issues when they put out something like this. But at the same time, the game just drops. When I say they secretly put it out, they didn't put it on their main account for college football, which has about 400,000 followers, about 350,000 followers. They didn't put it on their EA Sports account, DirectX account, which has 2.3 million followers. If you go on those accounts, they really just have stuff plug in the gameplay soundtrack or plugging, plug in the fact that the game just dropped and they want you to go out and buy it. So when I say that they secretly announced this, it's because they don't really want to put it on those accounts based off of the fact that they don't want to make it public. They don't want to deter people from going out and buying the game, even though some of the glitches I'm going to tell you guys about are literally making it to the point where people can't play the game. But they do want to let people know that already bought it that if you're having issues, they're trying to work these things out, which I guess is commendable to a certain extent. Now, they first address a very popular video that's going around where apparently there's a field goal kicking issue. It says that we have seen some players encounter a rare issue with being unable to kick a field goal. We have confirmed that this is a rare issue that only happens if your kicker is left-footed and if the kick was going to be blocked. It says we'll get this one addressed to you in a future title update. One of the issues they talk about is the fact that the stiff arm apparently is pretty effective, overly effective. As it says right here, as the game just hit worldwide launch for a ton of players, we are currently gathering more data on effectiveness of the stiff arm, as apparently this is overpowered. So use it while you can, because they're going to nerf this. But it says we always want ball carrier moves to be fun and effective, and for the stiff arm in particular, you can always flick the right stick down to counter it with a cut stick, which obviously if you're trying to hit stick, you'll be up high and then you'll get stiff arm much easier. So that's something that maybe people are complaining about. Maybe it's not really justifiable. Let me know in the comment section what your experience is and let everybody else know. But maybe it's not justifiable. Maybe you're just using the wrong stick than they intended. If you're not cut sticking on a stiff arm, of course your face is gonna be easier to. It says right here, it says there is a built-in counter to the stiff arm. So maybe it's just something that you should just work on your cut stick a little bit more. I typically use cut stick kind of, it's just because you're flicking down towards the guy you're trying to tackle. So I actually typically cut stick more often than not, which is probably why I haven't noticed it. Next up, they talk about some pass protection issues, but they try to kind of explain it away to the point where, they're basically just saying that there's a lot of new preset pass protections that people might be struggling with, which I can understand, but you got to understand that EA doesn't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt based on the fact that they've had so much poor targeting and pass blocking issues in the past, and there's a lot of issues in the game that I'm hearing about and seeing personally where coverage is just getting completely blown because cornerbacks are supposed to be covering like the outside deep third are just breaking for an RPO swing pass or something like that, where they're just dropping down on a random bubble screen and just letting a receiver just go right down the field. So there's plenty of issues, but they suggest that the majority of these issues are really just user error, with one specific one that they explain about the control for the untarget defender, which a lot of people wouldn't necessarily understand unless you play online, because there's a lot of users that'll mug a gap to try to get another, say a cornerback or an outside linebacker or defensive end off an edge or something like that. So I guess some people are having issues with that, where they're letting defenders in free and they really don't know why. Maybe because they're not using that correctly. These are not necessarily the biggest issues though. These are just kind of like issues that you can learn the game better and kind of figure out. But there are actually some issues that are a little bit more serious when it comes to playing the game, especially online. It says one last thing, as they just talk about those two things and then they try to sneak this one under the rug again. It says one last thing, since we mentioned snapping the ball, we're seeing some players encounter a rare issue where they are unable to snap the ball occasionally, which is something that I've heard in my comment section quite a bit, especially when it comes to online gameplay, which results in them either having to call a timeout or get a penalty, which is obviously not viable. But it says we have investigated this issue and are working to address it as soon as possible. In our investigation, you can hit this rare issue when you're at the line of scrimmage and hit the right trigger / R2 button plus up on the right stick, and then release them both simultaneously. So if you're making a ton of like really quick adjustments, which 9 times out of 10 you have to do because you don't necessarily have a ton of time, which is something that I don't even think is new to the game. I think this was actually something that happened in either Madden in previous years or in College Football 25, probably in both, because like I said, it's the exact same engine. This is basically just a reskin, and this is a reoccurring issue that has been in the game for a long time, but it's coming back in a strong way, and they're trying to give you guys a workaround here, which I guess is helpful, but it's also helpful if you make it public to everybody that basically buys your game on your main account, which has 2.3 million subscribers, or like I said, on your college football account, which has 350,000 subscribers. But this is not the only issue, but like I said, they give you a workaround here where it says, if you happen to hit this, we are seeing successful workaround with repeatedly pressing the B/circle button several times or attempting another pass protection adjustment with the LB/L1 button. This one is for sure on our radar and is our top priority to address. So I'm sure that they will address it pretty quickly, because like I said, I remember this issue, and this is something that they did address pretty quickly. It was something that came out in a previous year's game. I've had people talk about how the 56 glitch is still in the game in online play, which is insane to me how they haven't fixed that. They have fixed quite a few things, but it's kind of crazy to think that you can't play. There's people out there right now that are trying to play the game and can't play the game. Literally can't hike the ball on a play without trying to use some sort of Konami cheat code to get the ball to hike, which like I said is something that you know, I've seen in previous years. So there are a lot of people complaining about issues with the game, but let us all know in the comment section what your personal experience is with the game, because I'm curious to know that, because it will affect how I basically, because I can only see through my experience, and it will affect how I do these videos in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video there, but if you guys want to see more tips style videos about College Football 26, if you're playing this game and you want to know some things that'll help you out to play it better, I'll have those pop up on screen. And until next time, thanks for watching, man. My shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.